Hey guys, welcome back to Podcast Fat Boy. Episode 3 is just about to get underway. I just wanted to say a few things. I have changed the format of the show a little bit to make it easier on me to record my progress and as well get more guests in during the week. I've decided to just give a quick progress update at the beginning of the show, let you know how I'm doing, do the weigh-in, and not bore my guests with, my week to week progress reports. So for this week, my weigh in is 210. So it's been about 5 weeks and I've lost about 3 pounds. This is not great. I mean, I'm not going to win the biggest loser going at this pace. Obviously, I am not lowering my caloric consumption enough. I think I've been working out pretty well. I've had a couple of setbacks with working out with, just having a busy week and then all of a sudden, oh man, it's been 4 days and I haven't worked out. So, needing to make a few more healthier choices in my life brings me to the episode coming up with comedian staunch vegan Andrew Gardner. We're going to be talking about veganism. We're going to talk about the pros. We're going to talk about the cons. We're going to talk about the myths. There are so many myths. I think the biggest thing is protein and calcium. I'm going to put some charts up to show you how much you get from plants and vegetables. I also suggest watching the documentary Forks Over Knives. We will get into that in the show. We'll talk about it a little bit. But it will show you 2 doctors who have devoted their lives to studying animal proteins and the effects of it. And I'll just leave it at that. Don't worry, there's no graphic, sad music playing with, cows mooing in dirty barns. But it's definitely worth a viewing, I think, for everybody. Just to help, toggle some thoughts. If you're a staunch meat eater, I get it. But, you got to be open. There's only so long you can refute the facts. And with that, I take you to the episode. Enjoy.
Who's a fat boy?
Podcast Fat Boy.
Hello, welcome to episode 3. Hold the beef. That is the episode we are talking about all things vegan today. The lifestyle choice of the Plant Eaters Anonymous. Joined with me today is a comedian. He is a software developer. He's a proud vegan. And he's an astrophysicist major?
That's accurate, yeah. Astrophysics major. Yeah.
Wow. So are you all about...
It sounds impressive when you lay it out like that. I don't do all these things every day. But
ladies and gentlemen...
Or the vegan thing I do every day. I do that every day.
That's good.
Because otherwise you're not a vegan if you're not doing it every day.
That's right, yeah. Let me just play your song.
Yeah.
Anderson, 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 Anderson. And his name is Anderson. And his name is Anderson.
Andrew Gardner,
Anderson, Anderson.
also known as Anderson.
That's right.
Do you remember doing that tune?
Of course I do, yeah. That was my younger days. It's a lot more rebellious back then. Experimenting,
Another gem by the podcast Fat Boy theme composer Adam Kennedy. One from the past.
Yeah.
So we're here to talk about all things vegan today. Part of my journey is to lose weight and have a healthier lifestyle, as I've talked about on the show before. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I've wanted to talk to you about for a long time, because I've kind of seen you. When I first met you, it was about 10 years ago, and I think you were vegetarian, like you made the switch. I don't think I've ever actually seen you eat meat.
Yeah, I mean, I made the switch. It was almost exactly 10 years ago. It was I'm approaching my 30th birthday, and it was my 20th birthday. That's the landmark that I chose, where I'm like, okay, no more meat. I'm done with this. And I lived with Adam Kennedy at the time. That's how we know each other
Yeah.
is through our mutual friend. So he remembers me eating meat. I guess I just can't remember.
He does. I remember him saying like, "Oh, I used to
drove
love eating
him-
chicken with him." And
Drove him nuts.
Yeah.
But I think he was expecting me to go back, and never transpired according to his plans.
and then you made the. I think later on you became like, okay, well, I'll be a stay-at-home vegan and then eat out vegetarian. Were you that at all? I feel like you were that.
Yeah. I mean, like I'd say almost the whole time. Like
Mm-hmm.
I made the switch, and I guess it was when you first do something like that, and you're used to going out with friends and to family events and things like that. And I mean, this is partly my personality type as well, but you feel a certain pressure not to make things too hard on other people. And so I felt, like this is a choice I knew I wanted to make, but I didn't want to demand too much from the people around me. And so if we were going out, if we would go to a family thing and they'd be like, "Oh, is cheese okay?" I didn't want to say like, "Well, no, actually, you have to learn a new recipe altogether for a style of cooking you've never done."
Yeah.
So that was it for a long time. And then in the past few years, I don't even have like a landmark. I don't know exactly how long I've been doing it, but it was just like, okay, like it's just easier if I just draw the line, let everyone know that this is how I eat, and I don't make a fuss about it. Like if I go to someone's house, they didn't happen to make a vegan meal or something, that's fine. I'll eat something else. Don't worry about it.
So you still will, if you're forced into it, you'll have.
No, I won't. Sorry,
Oh.
sorry. I
This was before.
Perhaps
This
I
is
miscommunicated.
on the
No,
cusp.
What I mean is I just won't eat. It's no big
Oh,
deal.
you'll just-
Yeah. I'll go. I'll get something somewhere else like that. What I mean is I do now just say no, where before I might have said yes, just not to be rude. I would never eat meat.
Okay.
I did cut meat and like any kind of fish or animal out, but cheese and dairy in particular was one that I was just like, I don't want to be too difficult, but ultimately it's just, you make that choice, you let people know that that's a choice you made, and it's not a big deal. It was not a hard thing. I'm just the kind of person I make it a little harder.
Yeah.
I internalize like what other people are going to think about it, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's just dumb. You just do what you want to do.
I wanted to represent the proud meat eaters that listen to the show. I wanted to get a few of their ignorant and misconceived questions out of the way.
Well, I mean, I don't want to be on the offensive right out of the gate. So I'm not going to say ignorant, but I mean, I'll say right out of the gate, I am a vegan for ethical reasons.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I have learned about the health side of things, of eating a plant-based diet, over the course of the years, because it's a conversation that comes up when you've got a dietary restriction like that. People are curious, and you get asked a lot about why, and everyone has their opinions about it. And so when people chime in with things like, where do you get your protein?
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's like a vegan in-joke, and anything
Yeah.
about protein, B12, iron.
Yeah.
These are things that people ask about, and so you do start to learn, and you get sort of a go-to answer, for these kind of things of, well, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how you wanted to approach it. Do you have a list here? I'm rambling. Do you have a list?
Well, I actually have an entity that would like to ask you.
Okay. Wow.
It is the spirit of the carnivorous human.
Carnivorous.
Carnivorous? Is that a type of plant?
Coniferous.
Coniferous.
And carnivorous.
Carnivorous. I think that's what I was.
Well, sorry,
that
I'm being pedantic.
No, correct me. I'm ridiculous.
All right.
Anyways, his name is Gut Rot, and he just wants to ask you some questions. Don't get offended by it. We'll talk about it after. This is just a little compilation that I've come up with based on things that I've seen people kind of humor towards.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it after. Already some of them you have.
Yeah.
So this is the entity Gut Rot.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Question 1. How tired are you right now?
So I'll answer right away.
Yeah.
There's a little gut rotting.
Yeah. Sorry, he spreads.
Yeah. How tired am I right now? So I just biked to Matt's house from downtown.
Yeah.
I bike to and from work every day. With, not a huge distance, but I like to run and keep active. I probably get an average of 7 to 8 hours sleep every night. In other words, I feel like I'm pretty much, on par with a moderately fit person. I don't run marathons. I would like to, but
I think the question was, are you tired right now?
No, it was how tired are you right now?
Excuse me.
So the answer is I'm not particularly tired. I'm not particularly.
But it's okay because you've worked all day and you've biked from downtown. So it's just there's this misconception that vegans don't have any energy.
Right. Yeah.
So and that you need meat, and there's this magic essence in meat that propels us.
Right. And fact of the matter is a calorie is a calorie. And we all get them.
You ready for question 2?
Sure.
We can breeze by some of these because they're ridiculous.
Sure, yeah.
Go ahead, entity.
You guys are so boring. Do you take B12 vitamins orally, or do you inject it with a needle into your buttocks?
I've heard that injections are good. Like I've heard that it feels pretty good. I do take a vitamin B12 supplement.
Yeah.
I take it because I
where do you get it naturally? Like, what's a natural thing for B12?
B12, a lot of people say you can only get it from animal products. That's not true. In fact, the only thing that does produce B12 is bacteria. So there,
I should just drink Lake Ontario water.
Well, not just any bacteria. There's a product called nutritional yeast or brewer's yeast, which is it's like a byproduct of brewing alcohol or something, and that is kind of a vegan staple. That has naturally occurring B12 because the bacteria is the same kind of B12 producing bacteria. And that it actually has a not too unpleasant taste. Like it's almost cheesy and nutty, and so you can use it as like a Parmesan replacement or something. Use it in like a cheese sauce mix. But I do, in addition to, the fact that all like almond milk and soy milk and stuff are B12 fortified. So I don't think it's something you have to worry about so much. But it's an important vitamin. It's important for brain function. I don't want my brain not to function.
Yeah. Do you take a slew of vitamins every day?
No, B12. B12 is the only one. Yeah. And it's just because I'm just paranoid enough about that one. I almost feel like I don't know. I don't know what the meaties are doing these days, but I almost feel like I've heard that like everybody should be taking B12. Like
I agree.
Nobody wants to worry about a B12 deficiency.
No.
And I've heard that like the reason why we are at risk of B12 deficiency is because our agriculture processes, our scrubbing of plants and stuff is now so thorough. We used to get it from the soil. Like we used to get it from fecal matter that would contaminate our food when we grew it. And so we didn't have to worry about that. And so now we got rid of the fecal matter, which sounds generally I'm all about that. That's great.
Less fecal matter.
Less fecal matter on the food, but apparently the side effect is less B12. I guess it's one of these side effects of modern industrial agriculture,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I take a B12.
Like I always think of like I take a bunch of vitamins myself just because I worry that I'm not getting the proper stuff, because I definitely know I'm not like meat crazy. Like I'm not like eating a meat with every meal, but still I just feel like it's not just about meat. It's like you definitely need to have vegetables and fruit and stuff like that. And I remember like telling my dad when I was on this kick with vitamins, it's just like, and they were all vegetarian capsules and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I made Anyways, he was under the. I'm like, would you like a vitamin C? Like it's a citrus flavonoid or whatever. He's like, I prefer to get it from the real source. I'm like, well, yeah, I'll have an orange too. Like it doesn't mean like I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna live off vitamins. That's not the point of it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I
Still
mean,
need-
it's a supplement.
Yeah.
And I mean, like honestly, if we're gonna talk about the modern like the common North American diet, it must be what's the word I'm looking for, depleted in
my
so many vitamins.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like to just have to worry about the B12, I'm not in such a bad shape,
No, I don't think so. I feel like all the saturated fat and sugar and everything else that is in the diets, mainly like I feel like it really stands out in the North American, like the Western diet. And it's crazy to think. Sometimes I think about stuff like fast food. It's just like this is the first time in history that we've had these joints where you go and get these like weird factory style patties, like
and for that to be so normalized. And I listened to your first episode, and I know you talk about fond memories of like fast food and being a fast food junkie. I'm the same. Like even as a vegan, I've got a fascination with fast food culture. Like I love seeing the lists, and it's not a curiosity out of like, oh, I wish I could eat that. It's not that. I don't know what it is, but I'm just fascinated at seeing what the meaties are eating.
Yeah.
these days. Like what are these places peddling? I
think that I don't know what it was like for you as a kid, but like our parents or grandparents or whoever find a way to take you to McDonald's or somewhere and have the Happy Meal, and I feel like the addictive qualities and ingredients in the food, it just lingers in your blood.
Yeah, it really does. And I'll tell you, the only dreams I've ever had, like I went vegetarian. I don't look back, and I don't want it to sound like I'm saying that I'm I long for flesh or something. Like I don't. It is not a craving that comes up in everyday thought. But I have had dreams, and it's always McDonald's, and it's always a quarter pounder with cheese, and I'm eating it, and I'm feeling like, oh, why on earth would I do this? And I think I always attribute it to the marketing. Like it's just, it's gotten so ingrained in my brain from when I was a kid. And
it's not even just that we're addicted to the food. We're addicted to food being ready in 2 minutes and being able to eat it. Because if you think about anything you cook at home, it takes at least 2 minutes to heat up the pan. But like with fast food, I think we're addicted to that.
And cheap too.
Yeah, and it's super cheap, which is also like the problem with, like the problem with the States. And I always say the States because I feel like
we don't have that problem.
Yeah, we're we're well to do here.
No, I mean I don't know. I feel like fact of the matter is they are a little worse off than we are, but we're not much better as far as that goes.
We just have a smaller population, but if you times it by 10 like their population is, then it'd probably be the same thing.
Yeah.
Now the entity just wants to ask a few more questions. We'll just buzz through them.
Sure.
And you can just give one-word answers. He's really he's all right. He oozed to the closest Burger King.
Sure.
Got a popcorn chicken, but he's back now. So here's another one that we've already talked about a bit, but
Yada, 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 yada. Oh, me again? Oh, okay. Do you have competitions with your vegan friends? Like, who has the most broken bones due to calcium deficiencies?
yes or no?
In a word, no.
That's a no entity.
Even if we did have broken bones, why would we have a competition about it?
Because obviously you like to be depleted and
Show up.
weak.
Who's the more vegan? It's you measure by how many bones you've broken. Look how vegan I am.
That's how they did it in the 60s.
Yeah, exactly.
Which brings me to my next question.
What's the best part about being a hippie in the 21st century?
Best part about being a hippie in the 21st century?
Yeah.
boy.
What's the music like?
The the fact that society just bends over backwards for us now,
Yeah.
like now you can post the word, vegan menu on the outside of your restaurant that otherwise serves meat,
Yeah.
and it's not a bad word anymore. We won, guys. We're winning. We're gaining ground. We're
got-
coming for more. We got bike lanes.
That's right.
We got that one.
So that goes hand in hand. You have to be
Yeah.
a cyclist to be a vegan?
Well, otherwise, what's the point?
Are there any vegans you think that drive like Hummers?
I'm reasonably sure there are. Yeah, I mean,
But a small percentage.
yeah, I mean, obviously, there's numerous reasons for being vegan. I do happen to be a hippie, but not every vegan is a hippie. We have representatives across
I'm
a
very
broad
hippie
spectrum of political ideals. Yeah.
I'm going to just go right to this last question right now. And this is going to push us into the next conversation I want to have about this. Are you there, you gut rot, smelly fool?
Yeah, I'm right here. Last question. And then I'm heading to Arby's. Not here, but in the States. Because there's a deal right now in Oklahoma. It's a 2-for-1. That's it. Anyways. Have you ever considered breast reduction surgery due to your high soy intake, which mimics estrogen? Bye.
I hate that guy.
I hate him too. I just met him. I think that was
Soy.
I think that was a disingenuous question on the part of Cover, but no, I mean soy has this bad rap about the estrogen it contains. If I'm just to directly answer the question, yes or no, the answer is no. I have no immediate need.
You haven't considered it.
I have not considered breast reduction surgery.
So dumb.
Yeah. Well, I think soy gets that bad rap. It does contain.
It does. There's a lot of especially now it's really hot to make these man boob jokes about soy. I'm seeing it in popular culture a lot as well. That
I don't
takes
know.
up an episode of a TV show.
Does it? I don't watch this show.
Oh, okay.
Whatever
fine.
this show is. Is it 2.5 Men? It
No,
sounds like
it was the League.
The League. Oh, okay, even better. I don't know. I mean, I think soy has been such a huge part of so many people's diets for so long. My understanding, and I'm not a nutritionist.
Yeah.
I'm just a guy who eats tofu.
That's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So I know what I read, and I know that it gets a bad rap, and I know that
You don't look like a guy who needs breast reduction surgery.
well, thank you. I mean, if that were the way that I wanted to go, whatever. But no, but I mean, I think the amount that you would actually have to consume for you to get a level of and it's not estrogen. So I mean, we're not going to call it estrogen, but it is some kind of a hormone that in certain cases behaves like estrogen. I don't even know. But I mean, here I'm gonna show you the hair on my chest here, Matt.
Yeah.
All right, this is problematic. If there were a way where I could reduce,
I'm pretty sure that's not from soy.
yeah. But no, I mean, I think you'd have to eat an absurd amount of soy to have anything that affects any of your normal bodily functions. I don't know of such a case. There could very well be. I've never heard of them, and I've got a lot of soy eating friends.
I eat a lot of soy. One thing that I really love and is the processed stuff. I guess is the garbage for the vegans and vegetarians, right? Like the Saney's veggie burgers and stuff like that. I don't know if they're exactly garbage, but I'd say in relation to
They are. I mean, just because you're eating vegan doesn't mean you're eating healthy.
it's processed.
Yeah. I mean, there's junk food. And I honestly, I probably don't actually have a lot of soy. I'd almost bargain that there's probably more soy as filler in a lot of meat-based products that people eat, frozen store-bought dinners and these kind of things. I don't eat these things.
Hot dogs.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know.
No one knows what's in hot dogs.
Yeah, and I much prefer homemade meals. I eat tofu, but certainly not every day.
Yeah.
And I don't have soy milk by a long shot every day. Like
Do you drink almond milk?
I'll have almond milk.
I drink almond milk.
I've taken to like almond milk doesn't cream coffee and tea very well.
It doesn't.
So there's a brand of coconut based
yeah.
creamer because
Yeah.
it's got the high, pardon me, it's got the high fat content.
Yeah.
Which makes it really rich and tasty without being too coconutty. So I have that. I don't drink a lot of soy milk. I don't eat a lot of soy products because there are processed soy junk foods, and those I would not call those a staple in my diet.
Yeah.
Nor in the diets of most vegans I know.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there are people who represent that. You know,
It's funny. Everybody's like how they're reverted to tofu and the taste. They think it's going to be bland, and really the best thing about it is that it takes on the flavor of whatever it's in.
Matt, I mean, I'll tell you, like I made the choice to stop eating meat, and then I tried the food.
Yeah.
And I was not used to preparing it, and so I think I made some spaghetti and I put tofu in it.
Yeah.
And I just did a bad job of cooking it and preparing it.
Sounds
and I remember eating it and being like, oh, I don't like this stuff. I'm not crazy about tofu. And then I went to the store and I bought like an Eve's brand, and I hate Eve's brand. They're the
same
worst.
as-
They're not.
Are
They're
you
not.
a Gardein kind of guy?
Gardein is good.
Yeah.
There's a great brand coming out soon to Canada, Beyond Meat.
Oh wow!
And
heard of
I can tell y'all. I mean, they've got Bill Gates money.
Wow.
Right? They've got Bill Gates money behind them.
Wow.
So that they've got Twitter money. Twitter's money is in Beyond Meat. And I mean that maybe we can hold that thought. It's
Sure.
part of a bigger conversation about like how to get protein to the world.
Yeah.
But no, I bought this Eve's brand. Like it was called a Salisbury steak, and I'm like, oh, okay, I like steak,
Yeah.
so I'll like this. And I brought it home, and it was in a crappy little plastic bag, and you boiled it in the bag,
Oh.
and then you take it out, and then you eat it, and this is one of the sort of defining moments of my vegetarianism, because I put it on my plate and I ate it, and I'm like, this is bad.
Yeah.
I don't like this. Is this what I've signed up for? and it makes me think that there must be a lot of people who do that exact same thing. They don't like, they say, okay, let's give this a try. They don't know what food is good and what is not good, and what their own taste will be. And so they try something and it's not good. Like there's a lot of crap out there that's not good. Not because it's vegetarian, but because quality is so variant and everything.
Mix the right ingredients to get something tasty. And what you just described to me sounds like what like a single vegan dad would eat. Like an out of work single vegan dad.
Oh, it was bad. Yeah, I was like single vegan bachelor, I guess. And yeah.
So there's like one thing that I have really cut down on. I'd say by like I've decreased my dairy intake by about 70 to 80% over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Reason for that is when I was a kid, I was always getting sick. And it was very normal to me. It was like, oh yeah, it's wintertime. I'm going to get bronchitis and I'll just get banana medicine and it's fine.
Yeah.
Like it was normal.
For sure.
And as a kid, you know, there was like, got to drink milk with your dinner. Got to drink milk all the time. And my girlfriend actually is allergic to milk, and she was sick for years until she went to a naturopath, and she's like, you've got a dairy allergy.
Yeah.
And when she like took that out, everything was a lot better. So there's certain things I do, like there's a brand called Earth Balance.
Yes.
That I
I
use.
love the
Yeah. I
Hey,
use the
you're
soy-free.
speaking my language, man.
That's my butter, man.
Yeah. Oh, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's real good stuff.
And we haven't talked about it yet, but Daya.
Daya cheese.
What-
I believe it's pronounced Daya, although
Is it Daya?
You will find that there are
Dayo.
camps within the vegan sort
Community?
of community, yes, that swear by one or the other. Even though the company has gone on record, it is Daya.
It's
but,
Daya.
But
Okay.
you know what?
Now I know.
Call it whatever you want. You'll find friends who pronounce it likewise.
I just found out today that it's George Takei. I thought it was George Takei.
Yeah, I think that was a famous mispronunciation on the part of Will Shatner. I hear that he insistently called him Takai.
Oh, wow.
Even though it's not, yeah. Well, whatever. Neither of them are vegan. So as far as I
anyways,
know. But yeah, Daya cheese. I make pizzas with this stuff all the time.
Oh, it's so good.
It's good. I mean, and
you
that
had
was
a grilled-
honestly
Sorry,
the switch to going vegan was in a big part influenced by the launch of this product. Like Daya cheese came out.
Started in 2008.
Yeah, and so it's tapioca based. I had tried, like, I like the taste of cheese, and I like it on things like sandwiches and on pizza, and things like that. And so I had tried a lot of soy and rice based cheeses, and I just didn't like them. And I thought, well, there is no replacement. There is nothing on the market that can replace it. And so that was why for a long time, I guess I kind of let myself eat cheese. And then when this stuff came out, and I tried it right away, I was looking forward to it because I heard a lot of the hubbub in the build up to it. And it was good stuff. And then I'm asking myself, and I think this is one of the big things that I guess I would hope more people would ask themselves is, if this is just as good, why do I need to eat cheese anymore? Why I can just have this now.
Yeah. Like I'm a big cheese fan. I think that is one thing that is like, I feel is like a certain addiction.
Yeah.
As with many of the food addictions that I think we all have. But I've tried a bunch of different Daya cheeses, and I find that it has some sharpness to it, which the other cheeses don't have.
Yeah.
So it does have that kind of funkiness of cheese, which is good. Whenever I make a grilled cheese, I always use the Daya cheddar. Like, it is the best.
Yeah.
I tweeted to Daya saying that, and they retweeted it, being like,
That's sweet.
it's awfully nice of them.
Yeah.
It's just like, and I think I said, I was just like, you don't have to be a vegan to enjoy it.
Well, and that's like, I know I've got friends who are lactose intolerant as well, not necessarily vegan, who also love this stuff because it's not one word that I guess it almost came up with gut rot maybe a little bit.
Yeah, gut
but
rot.
One word that I feel like people use against vegans a lot is a word that I feel like has very little meaning, and it's certainly got no enforceable meaning as far as food labeling goes. But the word natural, and what's natural and what's unnatural, and people say, if people hear that, oh, it's a non-dairy cheese, or it's a fake cheese or an imitation cheese, why would you eat that when you could just eat the real thing? And so people feel like there is this sort of stigma against putting something fake into your body. And I mean, you can look at the ingredients, like it's a processed food, like it's got things in it that you might not have in your kitchen, but at the end of the day, like it's tapioca based. This doesn't
have soy, no soy.
Yeah, no soy. This is a root vegetable starch.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I feel like the word natural, unnatural, these in a world where people drink the fluid that comes out of the mammary gland of a cow.
Yeah.
And
Delicious.
Like, think about that. Like drinking cow's milk sounds natural, whereas drinking, like if I said, oh, drink cat's milk or pig's milk.
Or breast milk.
Or breast milk.
Like human breast milk. It's like whenever I've got friends that have had a pregnant wife, and it's like a thing like, did you try it? Have you tried it?
I mean, it's kind of gross to think about. Like, I feel like like what does natural even mean in that world?
Yeah,
like
that's true.
What's natural? Like natural is just this thing that we've gotten used to, and we've gotten into the habit of. Like tapioca is a plant like that grows, and we eat it in other contexts. So here's a new context in which to eat tapioca.
No, I'd rather have the 3-year-old cheese that's been aged to perfection.
Yeah, and it's got little bits of like mold and fungus.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with mold, because there are some beneficial molds and bacteria out there. I don't know, but
they're not popular if there are.
But yeah, I mean, like you to call something natural and unnatural, that just doesn't have a lot of weight. Like processed versus unprocessed, okay, like there's a conversation to be had there, and particularly with regard to, I think, refined sugar and refined white flour and a lot of these additives like filler materials that are in a lot of our food. But I feel like that's a different conversation. I don't know.
Well, moving on to the next topic that I'd like to discuss with you. When we were going back and forth with some messages, I told you that I wanted to watch this documentary called Forks Over Knives.
Yes.
You know, I've been meaning to watch. I love watching documentary films, so this is one I've been putting off for a long time because I knew it was going to have an impact on me, and I just wasn't ready to handle it.
Yeah.
But to give listeners a little bit of a summary of it, there were these two doctors, and they pretty much have been practicing medicine for over like 30 or 40 years at least. One was like a heart surgeon. The other one is like a professor of nutrition at a university in the States. And they pretty much are like what the movie is suggesting is that most, if not all, of degenerative diseases that afflict us can be controlled or even reversed by rejecting our present menu of animal-based and processed foods. So they've done studies that not only does eliminating the casein animal protein from your diet, it not only does it decrease cancer growth, but it will also like remove plaque from your arteries and stuff like that. Like it was pretty eye-opening to see. And it's like, who better than a guy who cracks people's chests open for a living to, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I think
be able to tell if it's working.
yeah, I saw the film a few years ago there was a screening in Toronto a few years back. Yeah, it was educational, informative for me as well. Again, like I went vegan for the animal rights reasons primarily. So the health thing is just an afterthought for me, but it is kind of comforting to know that, hey, this actually is a diet that the human body thrives on.
Yeah.
Not just survives but thrives. And again, it's possible to have an unhealthy vegan diet.
Oh, of course. There's tons of junk food. The area that you live in actually has some of the best junky vegan spots.
Hogtown
Vegan, and even at Disgraceland, they've got some some fun grub.
For sure. Because
I was at Hogtown Vegan last week, and I didn't get them, but I took a bite of a friend's the like chicken wings, like the vegan chicken wings.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
it's like boneless chicken wings.
For real. No,
Oh, man.
it's great. And
You want junk, you can get junk.
I know. and like, again, having been someone who grew up on fast food and junk food and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I can't eat, like I do feel like garbage after I eat it. And sorry, I love the place. I don't want to trash it, but I mean, I can't eat there all the time.
Oh
Like,
no, of course not.
It's
but that's
like a nice
that's
for a
the
treat.
vegan McDonald's in a way, though, isn't it?
And I mean, I'd say it's probably a step above. Like they care a little bit more about the
yeah.
food
Yeah.
than McDonald's. Like they're not just churning it out. But yeah, I mean, it's vegan comfort food is what it is. It's soul food. It's fried chicken and waffles and French fries and sandwiches.
That sounds good.
Oh yeah.
So, but this movie is they rarely use the word vegan. I don't think the two doctors don't even say it. They refer to this like whole foods plant-based diet.
Yeah.
Constantly, and then because like there's a lot of do you find that veganism is associated with more like the whole realm of just not eating meat and dairy, like the processed stuff, the bad stuff? French fries, for one, is
I don't know. Like to me, like these are my definitions.
Yeah.
I think the word vegan is not just about a diet. I think a vegan necessarily eats a plant-based diet, but I think it's more about a worldview as well. I feel like you'd only call yourself a vegan if you were sort of in line politically, sort of with the animal rights message. The idea that it's that humans that humans it's destructive that humans are using animals for our own ends. For food, for entertainment, for clothing. And so it's not it's not just about a diet, it's about what I wear. Like I don't wear any leather or wool products, or I make the best effort I can to learn about what I'm buying, and whether or not it is associated with that animal industry.
Yeah.
So that to me is what the word vegan means. Whereas plant-based diet, it's like, okay, now we're focused down on a subset of that. We're talking about the diet.
Yeah.
We're talking about a diet that simply excludes animal-based products that are derived from animals.
Like I'm pretty sure those, like looking at those doctors, is like, you probably have some leather shoes.
I don't know. I don't know. what
I
it
feel
is.
like they probably wear leather vests when they go out on Fridays.
leather vests. Possibly. Yeah. I mean, you get people doing it for various reasons, and I know it's actually kind of trendy with celebrities right now to do the plant-based diet thing. Like I think Beyonce did it a few weeks ago. Like
Yeah, she
just,
did a little,
just
for
just
Lent
like
or
yeah,
something.
right. And like was wearing fur or something as
yeah.
she did it. So it's like, well, you're not really doing it, then, are you? But I mean, so it's one thing to have the diet, and it's another thing to have the belief system, about how we should and should not treat animals.
Yeah, I find for me, like I do care about the well-being and like how these animals are mistreated.
And honestly, and I think most people do.
Yeah.
I think you could pretty much ask anybody, do you care about how the animals are treated? Would it be better if we were better to them? And I think most people would say yes. I think you'd be pretty heartless to say, I don't care. Like, I got a burger. Who cares?
I think that the problem that I have, even more than how they're treated, is that because there is so much mass consumption of these animals, they're harvesting these animals, and there's more and more of these animals, and I think of it as more of the environmental implications.
Sure.
Of like there
And this is
manure and methane
Yeah.
is one of the worst things that are destroying the environment.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, I think the most recent IPCC, the intercontinental, I don't know what it is. It's basically a report on climate change.
Yeah.
That it informed Al Gore's Inconvenient Truth way back when. They have a more recent one,
Yeah.
and the UN, they all pin the animal industry as more destructive to the environment than transportation. Like, combine all of transportation, and that's still not as destructive to the environment as the animal industry is. And that's, I don't know. I mean, that I feel like is kind of the three-pronged attack of the vegan argument.
Yeah.
It's like you've got the health,
Yeah.
you've got it's better for the animals, unquestionably.
Yeah.
And then even if you don't care about that, you've got the environmental angle that
Just trying to save the planet.
yeah, well, I mean, it really is. It's a nightmare. It's such a nightmare. And like, even if you want to say, well, okay, let's get our meat from local farms and stuff like that. Well, I mean, if you want to do that, the price of meat is going to go way up.
Oh, it is.
And you've
That's
got-
what we do.
Yeah, and you've got to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
And the amount that you can get,
Yeah.
the scarcity is going to go way up. And I think it's a system ready to collapse. How long that takes, I have no idea. I'm looking forward to the day that factory farming is no longer sustainable, because it's subsidized up the wazoo, Matt. Like the price that you pay $1.69 or whatever for a Big Mac,
Yeah.
to get some all beef patties.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's the U.S. government is. I hate getting into anything that sounds conspiratorial,
all right.
But these numbers are public. Like,
they are.
they subsidize these industries. These industries are very, very powerful. Oprah got sued by the beef industry for saying on television that she was going to eat less beef. You get sued millions of dollars for saying, I'm going to eat less beef.
Oh man. Yeah.
You know what? Like, what these are powerful people, and they've informed. With money, they've informed the conversation that we have about diet, nutrition, and meat's role in that. And so it's almost no wonder that people think you've got to get milk. Where else are you getting calcium? Here's a little factoid for you.
Sure.
Calorie for calorie, spinach has like more than twice the calcium of milk. Spinach. Eat raw spinach. You want to eat 100 calories of raw spinach or drink 100 calories of milk?
Yeah.
The spinach is going to give you more calcium.
So people are like, you want me to eat spinach like Popeye does? And we saw what it does to him.
Yeah. It turns him into a murderous rageaholic.
Obviously, it gives him lots of energy. Like,
Right. Yeah. His bones are
It's
probably
canned spinach, but
his bones are probably great. Yeah. Anyway, I'm off on a rant, but yeah, it's an unsustainable system. And like I was saying about Bill Gates and Twitter money here, people with money, wealthy philanthropists of today, are looking at, as one of the biggest issues in the world, how do we get protein to the world? Because the developing world is getting wealthier in a lot of places. India and China, they've got growing populations and growing middle class populations, and now where they used to be so poor as to not be able to generally afford meat, now they can. And so the amount of meat consumed in the world is going up, and it's becoming a bigger and bigger environmental disaster. And so people with the money and the brains are saying, how can we get protein to the world and not cause this inevitable environmental disaster that we're hurtling towards? And plant-based meat is one of the avenues that again, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has invested heavily in.
Yeah.
Biz Stone, who is one of the Twitter founders, he's got a lot of money, he's invested heavily in this. They're looking at plant-based meats, plant-based meat substitutes, or what you might call fake meat.
Yeah.
If you were so inclined.
Is it like how they're starting to figure out ways to grow meat in labs?
There is that, but I'm not talking about
No.
that. I'm talking about plant-based meat. So
Yeah.
you what that is, I guess that is a little vague, but it's basically you extract the protein from plants,
Yeah.
and you make give it a meat-like
Steak
consistency.
patty, yeah.
Yeah. And you serve it to people, and that's a great source of protein.
Yeah.
There's this product Beyond Meat.
You're tricking people. You think they think
That's right.
they're going out for a steak dinner?
Yeah.
And
And then you laugh at them.
that would be pretty wild to get to a point with technology where it looks like you cut into this like perfect steak, but really it's just
and they did they I mean,
dandelion.
just last week on the Today Show in the morning, they did a sample of Beyond Meat. They put it into like some sandwiches and wraps and stuff, and they tried it next to actual chicken, and they couldn't tell the difference.
I want to try this stuff.
Yeah, give it a try. I mean,
Beyond Meat.
Unseasoned, it's pretty plain.
Yeah.
But you season it the way you would season chicken strips.
Yeah.
And you can't tell the difference. And I think that's an important landmark, because when you can't tell the difference, you do have to start asking yourself, why? Why am I still going to buy chicken? I can just buy this.
Yeah.
Now, and it's got the advantages of being healthier for you, in certain ways. I know that people would argue that. So I'm not a nutritionist, but I believe it would be healthier for you.
Yeah.
And it's better for the environment, hands down. And you didn't kill a chicken.
Yeah.
In what was probably an inhumane way.
Yeah. I actually have a very vivid memory of being a kid. I used to live around the corner from a chicken slaughterhouse, and my mom took me for a walk over, and back then you could just walk kind of through it.
Yeah.
And my only memory is just looking down and seeing all these chickens in these coops, and they're all like freaking out and crapping everywhere. It was awful.
Yeah,
and it's like burned in my mind.
And I mean, I know that this is a health podcast. And I guess I would feel remiss if I didn't at least talk about, a little bit about the animal rights angle of it. But
Yeah.
I mean, since it's come up,
Go for it.
I feel like it's easy to look at a herd or a flock of animals, and just kind of write them off as being pretty mindless and being, devoid of any higher thought or sentience. But when we welcome animals into our home. We have dogs and cats, and we form a real bond with them. We get to know their personalities, and they become a part of our life and our family. And they're not human beings, but they're not better. They're not higher or lower than human beings. They're doing a different thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting, because I think you can read stories about people who've adopted pet pigs. And they find the exact same thing with pigs, and why wouldn't they?
Apparently, they're like the best thing you can domesticate. Like they're very intelligent.
They're super intelligent. I mean, they're definitely comparable to dogs. Some people say smarter than dogs. I don't know the science, but I'm inclined to believe that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I feel like we don't eat dogs and cats, and I think a big part of that is because we look at them and we think that's not something you eat. That's a companion, like that's got a personality, that has its own interests.
And that's just here. Like, I mean, they do eat them in Korea and the Philippines, and right,
Yeah. When I say we, I guess I am referring to like the North American standards.
No,
but
not cool as the hip would say.
Right. But but yeah, and I guess you spend any amount of time with animals, and you realize that they do have individual personalities in that same kind of way, and you don't have to notice it. But I almost feel like if you spend enough time with it, you will, and I think that does kind of force you to ask questions about why we would eat one and not another, and why we'll go to great lengths to protect animals, like companion animals and things like that. Why would we do that for some and not for others? This is part of the discourse. I think that led me to vegetarianism, certainly. And I don't think there's easy answers to it, and I think a lot of people think they might have easy, obvious answers for it. And I just don't think there are any. And so for me, that's the answer is just, well, I just can't do it. I'm just not going to do it anymore.
So as we head towards the end of the show,
Cool.
couple of last questions for you.
Sure.
Is there anything you miss from the meat world? Is there any meal that you're like,
Matt, I gotta tell you, not even a little bit.
Not even a little.
Not even a little bit. Like, I don't know. Like
chicken nuggets, or
but you can get those. You can get the vegan chicken nuggets. And like, honestly, it had been so long since I'd had, like, my go-to when I was a kid. You get the chicken fingers and fries. You go out to a nice fancy restaurant. Do they have chicken fingers and fries? I'll get those. And if, I used to do that all the time as a kid. And then obviously you go vegetarian, you don't have that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But a few years back, I was at I was at some kind of cafe and they had vegan chicken fingers and fries. And I'm like, oh, that's great. I used to love that. I'll get that. And I sat down and I ate it, and it was just like chicken fingers and fries from my meat eating days. And it was just like, that's like, I don't really need that anymore. Like, I don't feel good after eating that. It's like, oh, where are the vegetables? Like I start to miss those, after having this meal. So
you take pleasure in eating healthy these days.
I mean, I do. Like, I think I love food. Like,
you like to bake a lot of goodies though, don't you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I like the sweets, and I like the feeling I get when I make things. Like preparing my own food. Just I've learned to really love that.
Mm-hmm.
But
is there have you noticed since you've become a vegan that you've do you have any exercise regimen or anything like that you go through? Is it just kind of like biking to work? And
I bike to work. I bike to and from work.
Yeah.
It's pretty trivial for me to maintain my weight.
Yeah.
It can fluctuate a little bit, particularly we just had a long winter.
Yeah.
I wasn't biking so much.
Yeah.
So I did go like 5-10 pounds higher than my usual, but now I'm already on my way back down. I mean, I think at the end of the day, 2,000 calories or whatever, is kind of the guideline, whatever your diet is. So yeah, I mean, I don't like to call it like a magic bullet for health, because I think any diet that is going to be healthy, you've got to think about it and you've got to put care into. Any diet, and that whether it's vegan or otherwise, and so I think if there's people who turn to it as kind of like a magic weight loss plan or something, that's not what it is. I think it is a pretty health promoting diet,
Definitely.
but you do still have to think about what you're eating and all the pitfalls that await you, on a standard North American diet also await you with the vegan thing, for as far as like added sugars and
the junky stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think
soda's vegan.
Soda's vegan. French fries.
Yeah.
Most of the time, if they're not cooked in, do they still cook them in like lard? I don't.
Most places actually. No. I don't think they do. Some places still do it.
No.
Yeah.
Well, there's one more little segment to go.
Yeah.
Are you hungry?
Oh man, I just stuck. I brought these vegan burritos over here.
Maybe I got something on the menu for you.
Oh no.
Maybe just a quick appetizer.
Ooh, appetizer.
Now, what is this segment?
I don't know.
Appetizers is APP-izer, as in where I do recommendation for a helpful, healthy app for your Android or iPhone or your BlackBerry Pearl, if you still have one. I know for sure that this one that I'm going to mention is on the Android, and and iPhone, and it ties into as well something that you said earlier that vegans like to do, which is cycling, which I also like to do a lot. I really hate doing cardio indoors. It drives me nuts. I feel like a hamster, and I start to get panicked. But when I'm outside cycling, I love it. I'll go anywhere. And I found an app called Map My Ride. And it is like a GPS functioning app where you can just turn it on and start, let's say you're like going to work or something like that, and it'll show like the map of where you're going and your average speeds and whatnot. And the nice thing is when you're done, it tells you like an average of how many calories you've burned. And as well, you'll wake up the next day and you'll get an email being like, hey, look at these awards you've won. And it like depending on where you've traveled, like I went down to High Park and it's like you got 8th place in the High Park Loop or something like that. So it makes it more fun, and it makes me want to get outside and exercise a little bit more, because I know it can be challenging in Toronto to cycle safely.
Yes.
But there are some areas that you can kind of make your own track, as I do, kind of loop around and stuff. And then whenever I go out, it's just nice to see like, oh, look at where I'm like going really slow. Must have been a hill. And that's pretty much been appetizer.
Ooh, appetizer. This is good. You worked on these.
I do what I can.
Yeah.
I'm no Adam Kennedy, but Andy, I'd love to thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me and talking about it.
You've got your comedy troupe, Elephant Empire.
That's right.
Every Wednesday at the Comedy Bar. Or is it bi-weekly now?
There is an Elephant Empire weekly show. I'm not participating in the May show.
Okay.
But there is a May show going on every Wednesday in May at Comedy Bar, 8 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to plug? Your Twitter account at Plory?
That's my Twitter thing.
Just did it.
Yeah, man. No, I don't know. That's just follow me on Twitter. I'll keep you up. Whatever.
Oh man. Well, that's pretty much the show. As always, check out podcastfatboy.com. I will be putting up content that we've talked about from the episode. I'll put up some stuff where you can connect with Andy. Thanks again, and see you next week.